Hey everybody, happy Monday. This is Matt here at the Home for Weird Records. Just wanted to swing by today and talk about some stuff related to this book that I just finished. This is Corporate Rock Sucks, The Rise and Fall of SST Records by Jim Ruland. This is a great book. I finished this weekend. It's pretty quick read. It's really in depth. It's pretty awesome. If you do not know who this author is, he wrote My Damage, the Keith Morris autobiography, wrote it with him, autobiography, and then he also wrote Do What You Want, the Story of Bad Religion, which was a really good book. And this is his newest. He actually says in here that this is kind of the end of his unofficial kind of California LA punk rock trilogy. So this is all about SST Records. And if you're like me, if you grew up in the 80s or 70s and 80s and you were listening to punk rock music, you have some stuff on SST Records that you love. And I'm kind of surrounded by some of them here, some records that were, I mean, vitally important to me growing up and getting into that music in the 80s. So this book is really good. It's good, and it's kind of maddening at times. If you don't know, Greg Ginn is now especially, he is SST Records. He's it. And now SST is sort of like there was a time whenever you could be guaranteed that whatever you were going to pick up on SST, you were probably going to like, even if it was super weird or whatever, you were going to kind of like it. And now everything associated with SST is sort of a dumpster fire. Giant classic records not available on vinyl at all because they haven't been pressed. Pressings that are just continually going down in quality. I know, like Edward Culver, photographer, he's complained, like on Damage, that the cover quality has gone down considerably over the years. And he's vocally complained about that. Albums that are obviously sourced from CDs with sound quality on some of this stuff. And there's some parts here that talk about the fact that they were trying to remix something in the Black Flag, I think, Live 84, and the master tapes are basically just completely and totally trashed, and the Lakeshore and Redondo Beach and the Marine Layer and all this stuff, like a reason why some of that stuff may be gone. But it's sort of a label that has just fallen completely into disrepair and stuff that we should have great copies of some of these records, and we don't, because it feels like Greg Ginn just doesn't give a crap, and whether it's non-payment of royalties or just kind of screwing bands over or firing people, there's just a rough history with this. But there are some great records on SST. I just want to swing by and talk about some of them. So first, I would buy this book if you're interested. This is a really good read. It took me, honestly, like maybe 3 days to get through it, reading it off and on. It's really good. Again, I'll also, Bad Religion book is good. Keith Moore's book is further over there. It's really good too. So all of his books I've enjoyed quite a bit. So I would pick this up and read it. It's frustrating just to know that some of this stuff is in such disrepair, but it's a good read. And it goes kind of year by year and walks you through sort of everything falling apart. So Rise and Fall of SST Records. So book. So what records from SST really, over time have meant a lot to me, and I've got a bunch stacked up, and some of them are obvious, kind of the obvious ones, but I think that's where so many of these records are where a lot of us got into some of this stuff. So obviously I've talked about some of these bands before in my videos already, but Descendents, I Don't Want to Grow Up, a great record. So this is actually, Bill sold New Alliance to Greg. So there's a bunch of stuff like Bonus Fat I have over here, ended up on SST. I Don't Want to Grow Up. Milo. A lot of this stuff was actually on New Alliance first, and SST got a hold of it, but that's the only place we can get it from now. And as people will tell you, especially like on Milo, the New Alliance pressing just sounds so much better than the SST. There's just so little care has gone into making sure these incredible records have the best possible quality pressing you can get. We just don't. So these were massive for me. You know, and I think there's some things here that all of us, it's hard for me to, I mean, Black Flag Damaged, and this is one of the covers that he complains about. And these two in particular, the 7 inches from here, the first 4 years, which this is, you know, Nervous Breakdown, Jealous Again, 6-pack, so many classic, you know, original pre-Ruland's Black Flag songs, and then Ruland's first album. I mean, for a lot of us, these were the records that sort of launched us into punk rock. And, you know, these are ones we should have. I mean, geez, some of the stuff, we should have giant box sets of really cool, interesting stuff. There's the 82 demos that have never been released. And some of it is just because Greg's a butthole and doesn't care. And we won't ever get this stuff. Or he hates somebody that was in the band, and we won't get anything because of it. You know, we got My War, you know, and he keeps some of these in print, but the pressings are meh at best. So, yeah, I mean, Black Flag, Descendents, we should have great stuff. Dinosaur Jr., You're Living All Over Me. I mean, I absolutely adore this record. This is my favorite records on the planet. Luckily now, you know, Dinosaur fought it. This was actually on Jaguar. So these pressings are better. You know, a few bands have worked and have been able to fight and get their stuff back. This is one of them. This is actually a considerably better pressing than the stuff SST was putting out. So Dinosaur Jr., You're Living All Over Me. Finally, you know, they sued and got access to that, which is awesome. Kind of same thing for Soundgarden, Ultra Mega OK. You know, this is on Sub Pop. It's got extra stuff on it. It's a really, really good pressing of this. Now, in the book, you know, Soundgarden kind of puts out that they never really had a giant problem with Greg. Greg kind of left them alone and they did their thing, and that's it. And that's cool. And they, you know, ended up with their tapes back, and we've got a better pressing of this, but this is out of SST's hands. But that's what it was originally on, but it took us, you know, multiple years and another record label to get those. Kind of like the same thing with Dinosaur. It's such a shame. Like Minutemen Double Nickels is currently out of print. Has been for a little while. This album should be in print at all times and should be available. Most of the Minutemen stuff is in and out of print frequently or completely gone, and you can't find it at all. And the fact that some of these, like this record, is huge for me. Along with the FIREHOSE records afterwards, and those are all gone, and you can't get a hold of those anymore. And I mean, FIREHOSE sold a lot less than Minutemen, but Minutemen's, this record is huge, and all their stuff is amazing. And instead of having like some giant, awesome Minutemen everything box set, we have, you know, gigantic classics like this going out of print for 7 or 8 years at a time. It sucks. And then, you know, we've got, I can't pick one of these because these are all Hüsker Dü, Zen Arcade, New Day Rising, Flip Your Wig. And I pulled out the others and didn't, but I mean, we've got Metal Circus, Land Speed record. I mean, 5 of the best records on SST. And I think, you know, most of these are in and out of print constantly. I'm not sure which one of these you can even get right now. I looked into, this is an original pressing Zen Arcade. Sounds absolutely amazing. I've got a repress up from SST, and it sounds muddy and kind of junky. I mean, this is huge favorite. It was massively influential on me. New Day Rising is an incredible record. And yeah, this stuff just gets little to no care. And that really sucks. So, and then we've got stuff like Cruise records. And if you don't know Cruise is also SST, and we get some fantastic all records on Cruise. And this is out of print. I can't get Breaking Things, I think, right now. And that's just a huge shame. So, I mean, it's sort of a cautionary tale. I mean, there's a ton of labels we can all think of that stuff is gone or is out of print or it folded. And some of that stuff, you know, label was never super big or always kind of struggled. you know, SST was massive and huge and made a bunch of money and had good distribution, and records could be in stores. But, you know, you come across in reading this how hard it was for some of that stuff to come out and how long some of these bands waited. The Meat Puppets, I mean, that stuff is out of print. And, you know, they finally got most of their stuff back, I believe. You know, really 2 is the only one that kind of stays around now. So, it's just kind of a little rundown of SST. Like I said, I don't know about you, but I mean, stuff like, I'm glad Dinosaur Jr. has their stuff back, but I wish, you know, Bob Mould, and Greg at least had all the old Hüsker Dü stuff, and we could get some cool, sets, because I would love all the singles and other things from this. I mean, and it's back here behind me. It's actually right there. The Hüsker Dü box set, Savage Young Do. I mean, that is a numero group. It's incredible. There's so much extra stuff and live stuff and some unreleased, and it's just such a huge book and such an amazing box set. And all of these records we've talked about today, almost all of them, these bands could have these amazing box sets out. I mean, you know, Dinosaur Jr. Bug. And it's, again, they have it back on Jaguar now, and it's available, and they're better pressings, but, you know, there's no reason why we don't have more of the SST catalog, either in the artist hands or available in some way. So, you know, cautionary tale. I feel the same way about streaming and stuff sometimes, about things vanishing or disappearing on there. You know, you never know what's going on inside a label, and we'll probably never know what the real deal is with Greg. I mean, all we get is the occasional, now horrible, Black Flag stuff that comes out and occasionally goes on tour. But so that was today. Just a little chat about SST and Corporate Rock Sucks, The Rise and Fall of SST by Jim Ruland, which is a great book, and some awesome bands. Yeah, so I hope you have a good week. I will come back Wednesday, and I mean, we'll probably talk about some stuff. We could talk about the Bad Religion book if you wanted. I actually found this one. This one's pretty cool. Got a signed copy, signed by everybody in the band, which is really cool. Yeah, so have a good week. I'll see you Wednesday. Take care.